Okay, I'm going to start the broadcast.
Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to today's Donor Management webcast. Thank you for joining us. The topic today is the Donman-Every Day Hero integration. My name's Marla Nelson and I'm your host today. Before I hand over to our presenters, there's just a couple of little housekeeping matters I'll go through. First of all, there's a control panel on the right side of your viewer window, and that's where you can submit questions. You can close and open the control panel by clicking on the grab tab arrows. If you have a question, if you could submit them using the question pane, just type in your question in the box provided and then click on the send button. We will answer questions at the end of the presentation, but you are welcome to submit them at any time. And if you do have any queries regarding the connection today, you can also ask those there as well. Just also note that your phone is currently muted, and if time permits, we'll open the lines. We've got quite a few people on the line today, though, so it might be difficult. But best to send your question via the question pane if possible. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our presenters today. With us we've got our Donor Management Managing Director, Andrew Stein, and Nathan Betteridge from Everyday Hero. He's the CEO there. I'm firstly going to hand over to Nathan for today. We'll just hand over the controls to him and we can get started. Thank you. Nathan.
Thank you very much, Mara. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you can hear me. We're really excited about this integration and the effort that Andrew has put into helping us get data into Donman for his customers. The data that we acquire for our customers is incredibly important for ongoing management, and we know it's caused frustrations in the past for Donman customers. And as much as everybody has tried, I think this formal integration has addressed pretty much everyone's wishes. It's the first step, we'll touch on briefly at the end, but this is stage one of a two-stage integration. But this is ultimately all about getting data into your system so you can use that data for ongoing campaigns. Now I'll just show you what we've done on the Everyday Hero side. And just to start with, this opportunity applies to all Everyday Hero customers, regardless of whether they subscribe to our Heroics software. The report will appear for all Everyday Hero customers. Obviously, creating new campaigns and inserting Donman codes into those campaigns is only available for Heroics customers. So to start with, I'll show you what everybody sees when they first log in. And at the moment, if you were to go to charity.everydayhero.com.au and log in as a charity, as per normal, as if you were looking for your financial reports, you would see a little banner there just explaining that this integration is now available and prompting you to change your account settings to let the system know that you are a Donman customer. So you do that by either clicking on account settings or this little settings tab on the right-hand side. If you were to click on that, down the bottom you'll see just a checkbox asking you if you're a Donman customer, and you can either have it on or off. So once you've ticked that on, we now know that you're a Donman customer, and we start to make some modifications to how we share information and create information for you. You can get rid of that banner, and once you click on it, we remember that you've seen it, you don't want to see it anymore. So the key thing that does, just by telling us you're a Donman customer, is it lets you, when you go into your reports, run a specific, what we're terming a Donman detail report. That's not visible to non-Donman customers, and this is the report that Andrew has, we have created with Andrew's input, that will map perfectly into the Donman system. Most of you are probably familiar with our normal financial statements, which are available in what we call predefined reports. You also have access to, if you have Heroics, access to what we call Report Builder. Report Builder is where you can create lots of other reports, but the Donman report is housed back in what we call predefined reports. I'll just go back there. If you were to click on that Donman detail report, it simply prompts you for a date range. Everything else is predefined for the best possible integration with Donman. If you want the most most of our customers need to get data that matches our fortnightly settlement period. So what you would do is simply go in and pick that fortnightly range that is also the fortnightly range shown on your financial statements. So I'm just going to pick one that I know has data in it. So in this case, it's from the 14th of September 2010 to the 28th of September. So we run Tuesday to Tuesday every 14 days. Once you've picked the date range, now you can pick any date range, but for this, in this instance, we're going to run one that matches one of our financial periods. And that report has now been downloaded. And if you go up into wherever your downloads come, you'll see the two reports. To get this report, it's appearing down here in your generated reports. You simply click on the download button there, and that will download it onto your desktop. If you open that report, what have I done? Why is there no data in that? Isn't that great? Love doing live demonstrations. Sorry guys, I'm just going to regenerate that. I must have put the box. Okay. So whilst that's running, I'll just show you what our normal financial report has, just so you understand what's there. Now this is one where I've just I created earlier. This is for a period from the 14th of September to the 28th of September. Our current or our old financial reports had just donor information in it and limited additional information in regards to the fundraiser. What we've done on the Donman detailed report is we've added a lot more granular information around the fundraiser, and when Andrew shows you what he's done with that, it allows you to build relationships between donors and fundraisers as you import the file into Donman. So with the Donman detail report, whoops, click on the wrong box again. You can tell it's just new. When you download it, it will ask you to open it in Excel or save it. I was talking to Andrew before about this, just as something to understand. If you open it up in Excel and manipulate the file and save it back down, and there is always a small risk that it corrupts the CSV file. So the goal here is to, if you do open it up and want to have a look at the data, when you go to do the import the original CSV file that was downloaded. But in this case, I'll just open it up so we can have a look at it. And you'll see here, this is the Donman detail report. It's got the same data in it that was in our original financial report, but with Andrew's input, we've renamed all of the column headers to match the appropriate database names in the Donman system. And you can go through here, and all of the data's there. And you'll notice here a particular column that's called campaign code. Now that's designed to accommodate the Donman campaign code that's consistent with the campaign or the appeal that you've already created inside Donman. And I'll show you how to enter that into our system in a minute. It gives you all the normal financial information that you need. And what's most important is that it now gives you all of the information relating to a fundraiser and whether they're fundraising as a team member, as an individual, or as a team leader. So much more granular information that lets you get more information into your database. Okay, so I just want to show you that report. Where'd it go? This report here was the original one. Will match, of stop wasting time, will match the statement that appears in your financial reports. So it's been designed, if you run it from the the same fortnightly period, that report will match the report that's in there for your financial statement. It shows a summary of the gross amount of money raised for the period, less any fees, and your net payment that was deposited into your bank account for your financial reconciliations. Okay, so once you've generated the file, you would then get ready to import it into Donman. Before we do that, I just want to show you some of the other changes it's made for Heroics customers when they create a new campaign. So for those of you who have Heroics and are familiar with it, you know that you can create multi-page websites for all of your campaigns, whether it's for peer-to-peer fundraising or whether it's just a straight-off appeal where all you really need is a website that can accept donations. Even if you want to just create a web form to act as your Donate Now button off your website, this is where you would create it. If you're not familiar with it, we have a section in Heroics for each campaign called Campaign Codes. And if you go into that Campaign Codes area, that's where you generate unique BPay and Australia Post codes for your campaign. So if you're doing if you want people to be able to donate to that campaign by BPay, you just generate the code there instantly. But what's important here for Donman customers is down the bottom we have this section called Campaign Finance Codes. So every time you're creating a campaign, say you're creating in this case we've got an example of a spring appeal. If you're creating a spring appeal, you've set that up inside Donman and you've generated a Donman campaign code. When you create the equivalent campaign in Heroics, you go into Donman and you enter that code there. I'll just show you what happens if you don't. It insists that you do by showing an error message there saying it can't be blank and it must be 12 characters or less. That's to ensure that it's compatible with the Donman campaign, or system I should say. So once you've done that, that means that every donation and every fundraising record in our system has that campaign code attached to it, and that's what Andrew can use to help map it into Donman. I'm just going to jump in and show you a campaign that I created before that doesn't have a campaign code in it and show you what happens. In this case, I've created another campaign, but I forgot to put my Donman code in. If you attempt to bring that campaign live, it will prompt you to go back and ensure you've got a Donman code entered in it, because we don't want to go to all of this effort to do the integration and not have that code already in the data file that we generate. So it'll just keep asking you. It just pests you until you actually go in and enter that campaign code. So I'll just do that. And once you've entered it and it validates it's less than 12 characters, we're now good to make the campaign go live. And there you go. So at our end, it's quite simple. It has given you the ability to access a report that Andrew can then has designed an import bridge to get into Donman. I just want to show you why for us it's really, really important. It's because we are providing a lot more functionality now around donation processing, and the more data that we're creating or acquiring on your behalf, we want to make sure you can use. So just show you, whilst I've got a couple of minutes, two new features of Heroics for those customers who have Heroics, or even for those that don't. You might find this interesting. The first feature is an extension of our donor choice payment solution, in that what we've found is that about 15% of donors at the moment are choosing to pay an online donation offline. So they're prompted to make a donation through a website or through a fundraising page, and 10% of those people are choosing to pay later using BPay, and about 5% of people are choosing to pay over the counter or through the mail via Australia Post. Because that's proven to be such a popular payment method, we've developed a thing that we call the give code generator. And this is being proven popular for people who run large direct mail campaigns, and they want to include the option of BPay and Australia Post on the response coupon. So just to give you a visual demonstration, so you're running your normal direct mail campaign, you've prepared your data file for the mail house, but you've spoken to your printer and you want to include either a BPay reference number or an Australia Post barcode so they can pay over the counter at Australia Post. What you need to do is just jump into Heroics, click Generate Give Codes, and it will just ask you to import the file that you're just about to send to your printer into this system, and then it will output the same file but with 2 or 3 additional columns, being the unique BPay reference number per supporter and a barcode number that a printer can then use to generate a barcode, a personalised barcode when they go to print your response coupon. So what that's done is it's given your supporters 2 additional options on how to pay, and if they do choose to pay using those methods, that data will come through the Everyday Hero platform and will settle as per normal and will be apparent inside the Donman data file that we've created with the campaign code that you've applied to it already there. So it closes the loop and it gives your customers access to BPay and Australia Post, which we're seeing is in demand because of the number of people that are using it. So if you do choose to use give codes, or even if you don't, the next thing that we have released that is creating even more data for you is the thing that we call Moto payments. A lot of you are probably already using a payment gateway of sorts, whether it be Secure Pay or your bank or whoever it is. With the Moto payments that you can get to via Heroics, you simply click on that button, Receive Payment. If you had sent out a personalised direct mail campaign with a barcode on it that's able to be used at Australia Post, and that person chose instead to return that coupon to you with a credit card number, you could scan that barcode and it would actually bring up that supporter's record, and all you have to do is enter their credit card details. In this case, let's assume they haven't sent you, you haven't got a barcode, and you would just go through and complete the donation, saying how much the donation was for, etc. Hit continue. You would have to enter their name. If you'd scanned it, you would skip this step because we already would know who they are. You would confirm whether or not they've chosen to opt in from you some more. Continue. And then choose to pay by credit card. And it operates just like a secure payment platform. The good thing about it is if you do process a manual payment through this platform, once again, the payment will come through the Everyday Hero platform, it will settle along with all your other Everyday Hero donations, and it will be inside the one consistent Donman detail report ready for you to import. And the goal here is to reduce the number of sources of data that you've got to manage from banks and from other sources into one file that will integrate with Donman. So that's pretty much it for me. I just wanted to touch on one other point. With all of this additional functionality, every member now gets a very specially priced Donate Now button, effectively. So if you are looking at changing the donation process on your website, and you want to make sure that data integrates with Donman, and you're looking to accept BPay over via your web donation form, give us a call or speak to a charity manager and we'll happily help you. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. And thank you to the guys at Donman for working with us so well to get this into Donman. And hopefully that answers all of your questions. And I'll hand over now to Andrew to complete the picture of how it all works on the Donman side.
Thanks, Nathan. I'll just hand it over to Andrew.
Nathan, can everyone hear me? Okay. Hello, everybody. Before I start, I just want to have a question for Nathan. I thought his presentation was fantastic, and I loved the way it prompts for a Donman campaign code. Nathan, in my experience in the past with Australia Post bill pay, some of those things don't allow alphanumerics. I'm wondering what will happen if somebody has a Donman alphanumeric campaign code. Will that still be okay?
Yeah, can everyone hear me still?
Well, I can hear you. I don't know if anyone else can.
Yeah, okay. Yes, absolutely, because the alphanumeric code goes into our system. The barcode we generate for Australia Post has it's generated to support whatever Australia Post needs. So they're two independent.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay, so hello everybody. I think that was fantastic. I love what I saw. And what I want to take you through now is how we actually go from that downloaded file that Nathan's shown you how to demonstrate, how to create. And like I said, the most important thing is the campaign code is there. Now, as Nathan's explained to me, one thing to be aware of is that if somebody's made a donation to Everyday Hero that isn't through one of your campaigns, if you're not using Heroics, and if they've made a donation that just comes to you, there will be no campaign code because you haven't already established it. Now, this import program I'm going to show you will pop up on the screen and say, I've got a record with no campaign code. What do you want it to be? So what we suggest is you do create a generic Everyday Hero campaign code that you can use for those donations that aren't coming from your own campaigns. Now, I'm going to go into donation processing. Now, I've added the Everyday Hero import to the screen here, and I've actually got a special version of it because the sample file I'm using today has some numeric campaign codes that don't match my system. So I've just done a little fudge, which is going to convert it to one of my campaign codes. But essentially, this is the program you're going to be using. If you purchase this add-on from Donman, I think it's $800. There are 5 people. The people who were the first 5 got it at half price, and that's now being filled now. I think we've got our 5 users. But it's also available free for anybody that I've already written an Everyday Hero import from. Except if they've been customised, maybe a slight change to customise them. But anybody that's got an existing Everyday Hero import will get this new version for free, and you can start straight away. Anybody who wants it, it is now available. It's all live. So I'm going to run the Everyday Hero import and basically show you how it works. So the first thing the program does is it asks you for the name of the file to read. Now, this is that file that Nathan showed you that we downloaded from Everyday Hero, and it's the special Donman export. So we click here and find the file, and I know I've got this one, a sample one called Donman Detail Report that I've set up, which matches what Nathan's shown you. Now, this thing is very much like a lot of our imports in that it asks you what you want to do for the donors you read, like what do you want their default mail code, extra codes, source codes, various things to be. The difference is because this will also import heroes as well as, or fundraisers, as well as donors, there are multiple sections for this. So the first question we asked, it warns me I'm running the same file twice because this is my test file and I have run it many times, but it's a good warning because if you did run the same file twice, it would be a mistake. So the first thing it asks is what do we want to do for new donors created? Now I will explain this program does very sophisticated duplicate checking. So it looks for anybody with the same name and address, and if it finds it, it exactly matches it, and it doesn't tell you. It just does that all by itself. If, on the other hand, it finds not an inexact match, but a phonetically similar name and the same postcode, it'll pop up with a list of possible duplicates, just as Donman does when you enter new people on. But what this program is now saying is that if we are going to create new, what would you like the donor type to be? What would you like the source code to be? What would you want the mail code to be? Do you want to create an extra code for them? The address is incomplete. What do you want the mail code to be? Usually that would be no mail. Now, Everyday Hero has an extra field called opted in. And so I've created a facility so that if you want to make it the mail code special for opted in being no, you can create a mail code for that too. And if there is no name or address, well, I think it's not going to happen that often, but if it does happen, there's the option of crediting the donation to a particular donor number. So if you've created a dummy donor, a donor that you want to put all the donations to, who no name or address, you can enter a number there and it will go to that donor. If you say 0, it won't do it. It'll just proceed as normal. So the first big question you're asked, because this program, like all the other import programs, will always import donors, because the donors are the ones who are giving you the money, they're the ones that need to be received. But it says, would you like to import the heroes as well? So if you say yes to import the, we then are going to, first thing we ask, what code relates the donor to a hero? Because what this is going to do is create a relationship link between the donor and your hero, the donor and the fundraiser. So I've created a code called sponsor, which is just one of the relationship codes just as you have in Donman. So you need to create your own code for whatever you want to call the relationship of a donor to a hero. So I'm saying the donor is sponsoring the hero. You can create your own code. And I've created the opposite code, which makes the hero of the donor. So I've got sponsor and hero of mine too, but you can create them any way you like. And then it says for new hero records created, what do you want the donor type to be, the source code, and the extra code. Now, you may want these to be the same as just for adding a new donor, but I'm allowing for the fact that you may want to have slightly different codes there for heroes and for donors, the options there. The next, that's the fees. When money goes to Everyday Hero, as you're aware, there are fees taken out for Everyday Hero from credit cards, from gateways, various things. Now, you can completely ignore this and say no special provision, and that will just mean that the donations go through as they are, and you just simply account for that through your accounting system. On the other hand, they want to make special provisions so that you can actually know on then about those fees. And we give you two options, and these options have come through either customers that had me do it like this before or our own ideas. Now, the first option is a fees donation. So if you choose fees donation, you're creating a campaign and putting the fees against a particular donation code and against a donor. Again, another one of those dummy donors. The donor that all the negative fees go to as a donation. Now, we've done that because we've done that with people in the past. We sat together as a staff and thought that maybe there's a better way of doing that, and that is that it might be better option of using campaign costs instead. So if we choose the campaign cost option, we actually create a cost code for the campaign for Everyday Hero fees, and then all the costs for those Everyday Heroes just go as cost codes. So the donor still has the same amount against the donation as it should be, but the fees are there in the campaign. So when you run a campaign summary report, you'll see what the net result is. You've got the amount received from the campaign, the costs, which will include the fees, and that's your net total. And that's what I'm doing here. Now, I've pointed out that all the questions I'm going through are things you only have to do once. This will remember it, so next time you run it, you won't have to put this in, just as I've got default values. Do you want to receive and send thank you letters for these donations? So the assumption is that yes, you would, unless you decided you want to do everybody end of year receipts. So if you say yes, then everything will be on for receiving. It's going to create an error log in a log directory called Donman error and an Donman log, which will be shown automatically when the read's done. And it asks you whether you want to check for duplicates interactively, and I would always recommend you say yes to that because that will save you having to merge duplicates and find them later. Have you done a recent backup? Yes. Are you ready to begin? And the program off it goes and runs. Now, it's come up and says there's a record with no campaign code. I'm going to now enter the campaign code that I want there, and I'll just create a campaign. This is what I was trying to say before. We need to have a default Everyday Hero campaign. So I'm just going to choose one of mine, CSCQ, and we'll continue. And it's going to match all the people it can match, but it's now found a record with obvious duplicates. So I'm going to say yes, select that Meriden whatever is an exact match, so I select that as a duplicate. Also run this before, and another one that's an exact duplicate. And then this is one where I've got a Michael Jones and it's Siri Jones. So it's not a duplicate. This is sponsoring, so I'm going to cancel. I'm not going to do that. And then again, I've got another one that I'm going to cancel. And I'm going to just stop the program running now because I want to show you what happens. And when the program finishes, we're given a result, possible duplicates listed, and we've had 312 donations have been added. And then we get a log file, which tells me who was added and who was found and who was updated. And it's finished. Now, we now have new donation records for everybody that's there, not only have we created a relationship link between the donor and the donation, but when we actually run right through and run the end of day update, we will actually have a soft credit between the donor and the fundraiser. So I've actually run this previously today, so if I can find one of my earlier transactions, it's maybe a little tricky. Here we are. So I have Alison Penn. Now, I want to show you one more thing. Under the user number item, what we're doing is we're saving away the Everyday Hero ID into a separate little text file, so a separate little database. So I click on there, we can see there's an EH donor. So EHD means this was a donor, not a hero. If it was a hero, we'd say EHH. So that's the actual donor, the date issued, and that's the Everyday Hero ID number. Now that will change with each donation, but not for the hero. We see that Alison Penn has a relationship. She's related to Kate Sprawn. If I click on that and we look at the link there, we see that she's a hero, and that's her hero ID. If we look at the donations, there are no donations for Alison because she's the hero, but however, there's a soft credit tab. These are all the people that have made donations to her, the soft credit. So these are all the dates, donations, the amount for that campaign, your campaign, it's red. If I go back to the actual person that's made the donation, like I have an actual donation. So that's the donation there, but it is soft credited to somewhere. It's soft credited to the donor, so that we have the relationship created between the hero and the donor, relationship created in the donation record, so that for the donation for the donor, we have a soft credit to the actual hero. So when you look at the hero, you will see all the donations. You'll be able to select people out by donor or by hero. The IDs are available in what we call the keys database. And it does the very good duplicate checking all the way through and lets you choose what you want to do in that situation. And I'll look, that's pretty well it for the import program. And I guess I'll just turn it over now for any questions. Thanks, Marla.
Yep, thanks, Andrew. There's just a couple of questions that were posed. The first one was from Paula, and it was to Nathan, and it was, what if we use multiple campaigns, e.g. registration and donation? It was earlier in the demonstration.
If you use multiple campaigns, if I've understood the question correctly, each campaign would have a unique code associated with it inside Donman. So in our language, a campaign is like the spring appeal or the Christmas appeal, whatever it is that you create inside Donman, and you give that code to each campaign in our system. In terms of registrations, it would have the same code if there's a registration module associated, but I must admit this import that we've developed is purely around fundraisers and donors at this point in time. If someone in our system, people can register and become a fundraiser, so there would be a relationship then between the fundraiser and the donor, and it would work as per normal. I hope that's answered the question.
So that, in other words, if you run the import, you will get the different campaign codes, so that if you've created 3 Everyday Hero campaigns, they will have 3 Donman campaigns that you will set up.
That's right. Every transaction is associated to a campaign code.
And another question from Han, which was during your portion, Andrew, and it was, if there is a positive duplicate, same address but different donor, does it overwrite the original name of the donor?
Well, it wouldn't be a positive identification then, because it'll only automatically match a donor if everything matches exactly. Now, if there's a small mismatch, like the first name's different, then it'll list as a possible duplicate. Now, if you make a mistake and pick that person as a duplicate, yes, it will overwrite and change the name. However, it does create a log file of every change that's made. So if you go into that log file and see that Mary Brown's had her name changed to Bob Smith, you'll know that you've made a mistake and you better change it back.
Okay, there's a few questions that have been logged now, so we'll get through to the next one if that's okay, Andrew. It's from Mona. It says, my understanding the receipting does happen via Everyday Hero, so there is no need for another receipt from Donman. Can we link the receipt number on the Everyday Hero report to be added to the receipt number in Donman?
It is read. The receipt number is read.
And yes, we do receipt every transaction, so you could, if you chose to, just rely on the Everyday Hero receipting, but record the number inside Donman. Is that correct, Andrew?
It is in fact recorded. I think that question is really about whether you want to do thank you letters.
Yeah, that's right. Like we've already generated. There are scenarios where we can't receipt in today's world. For example, if someone doesn't have, say you in Moto, what we call where you pay the credit cards, if someone replies via direct mail and you don't have an email address, in that case we can't send a receipt by email. So there are the odd occasions where we don't receipt, but in most cases there would be an email address because it's being acquired online.
Okay, and a question from Caitlin. For our heroes, we create an in memoriam event page so we can run a report at the end of the campaign and let them know who has donated. Will we still need to do this, or can we run the report from the hero donor file? Do you want me to repeat that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So for the heroes, they create an in memoriam event page so they can create a report at the end of the campaign and let them know who has donated. Will they still need to do this, or will they run the report from the hero donor file?
Okay. If they're creating in memoriam campaigns, I'm assuming they're Heroics customers, and that campaign would have a particular code associated with it, and it would be one campaign code for every hero page that's created off that campaign. At this stage, we can't take a code per hero page. So, assuming that's okay, every hero page that you create and every donation associated it will end up in the Donman reports, as we showed. If you've got to run any other specific reports, the report builder that we've got lets you run additional data. It just may not be compatible with Donman. So I think that question should come back, and I'll happily do a demo of that in more detail after this.
Yeah, just quickly for everyone, all the questions that you've posted today we do have documented, so we can follow up afterwards if we haven't answered them correctly. So just another question from Chris. Oh, sorry, Andrew, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I think that question was about the Donman in memoriam system, where what we do is that as we process donations, we can attribute a donation with a relative code to say who does that donation go to, and then at the end of a period of time you can run a report to the relative and mail them and say these people have made the donation. The difficulty is, in order for that to happen, you have to have the relative code against each donation. And I don't see that coming through this system, so I don't know. One of the
things that we suggest for people with in memoriam is, it takes about 5 minutes to create a new in memoriam campaign inside Heroics. So if it's an important one, you could just create a new campaign and just build one fundraising page associated with that campaign. So therefore, you would have a unique campaign code for each campaign. But obviously, it takes about 10 minutes extra to create that new campaign.
And that's probably what you'd have. That's the only way to get around it. But it
wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily link through to the Donman thing. We'd have to talk about that with someone. Yeah.
Okay, the next question from Chris is, does the system allow for subscriptions and event attendance between Everyday Hero and Donman?
No, it's only importing what we've done today.
Yeah, just fundraise. It's primarily designed for fundraisers and donors at this point.
And from Mona, do we have to enter the campaign codes on the Everyday Hero website? What about the previous donations from previous events?
It is. You can go back if you want to and enter the campaign codes into each campaign inside Heroics. So yes, you do have to tell us what that campaign code is. If you then go and generate the file after you've done that, it will retrospectively put that against each transaction.
And can I say that this is just phase 1. Phase 2 is the next thing we're going to develop. You'll actually be able to, within Donman, if you have Heroics, be able to click on, when you create a campaign, go to the campaign screen, and there'll be a button there which will let you create that campaign on Heroics. So it'll actually send that campaign code through to Heroics and create the campaign for you. So
yeah,
that's
we're
the
looking
next
forward to
step.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another question from Samantha. Can we select manual receipt instead of auto receipt and have the Everyday Hero receipt number imported?
Look, I think that's actually what it does, but I'm just, I'd like to have a little look to answer that. Do you want to just take control away from my, just give me my screen back so that I'm not showing it for a second while I have a quick...
Oh, sure, yeah.
Or do I do that?
That's all right, I can do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go on, if there's any other questions for Nathan, I'll just...
there's a couple more questions that have been posted. From Samantha, can we select manual receipt? Did I do that one?
Yes.
Manual receipt instead of auto?
Okay. Researching that one now.
From Han Lee, if we set up our Everyday Hero campaign as a memoriam campaign and have a relative code, how do we allocate a relative code to the donation?
I must admit I'm not familiar with the term relative code at our end. The only code that we're passing through at this point is the campaign code. We can always, yeah, we're not capturing a relative code at this point in time, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And from Gail is Gail Breen. In Donman, would you run a soft credit report to get a breakdown of rels?
You could. Why not? Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is all the questions that have been logged at the moment. So.
Okay.
What I can do, Andrew, was there one more thing that you were chasing up?
Yeah, I was just trying to find out about the receipt number.
Okay, just while you're doing that, I'll just
well, we are actually
put up our contact information.
And Marla, yeah, as Andrew said, this is stage one. If there's a bit more, if there's some specific work around this in memoriam, we're working on a new module for in memoriam at the moment, so I'd be interested to find out what some of those requirements are. So yeah, please feel free. I'll have a look at those questions after this and contact those people directly for more information.
Right. I've just put on the screen, hopefully you can all see it, is Andrew's or donor management's details, info@donman.net.au, and also Nathan's details and phone number and website if you're looking for some more information.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Andrew, are you still?
I've got an answer. The answer to the question is, at the moment, it is not using, it is doing the normal Donman thing of saying receiving means yes to receiving. I may make a change to that to allow for that. Nathan, your receipt numbers, how long are the receipt numbers in Everyday Hero?
It's random, Andrew, so I'll send you through a sample of how that's compiled.
That's the problem, you see. If it's more than about 8 characters, we probably can't handle it. So if you've got 12 or 15 characters and receipt numbers, then it's really not going to be an option to store that as the receipt number. I'd have to look at that.
All right. Well, we can give you whatever you want because we have a transaction ID as well, if that suits. I actually thought we were passing it through. All right. Well, let's talk about that offline.
Yeah, we probably are, but I'm just saying I'm not doing anything with it at the moment. I think I'm reading it, but I'm still, if you say yes to receiving, it's still assuming you're going to generate a receipt number. But I can certainly adjust the program to allow for that if we can do that, and I'll endeavour to.
All right, well, that's good feedback.
All right, just one little last question for you, Nathan, before we finish up from Kate is, if you subscribe to Everyday Hero, do you automatically get access to Heroics?
No, every Everyday Hero member gets access, if they're a Donman customer, to the Donman report. Heroics is our software as a service solution for building campaign websites and appeals and payments and all that, which is a different cost. So Kate, happy to take you through the pricing of it. And there are, in fact, I think the setup is reduced for Donman customers. We've got a special bundled price for Donman customers as a result of this. So please give us a buzz.
Okay. Well, thank you, Andrew and Nathan, for today's webcast about the integration. Certainly, if anyone has any further questions, please do contact us at info@donman.net.au. The details are on the screen. That concludes our webcast for today. Thank you for joining us. And as I mentioned earlier, we will follow up any questions that were outstanding, and there will be a recording of this webcast on our website shortly. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
Marla, for organising. Thanks.
You, Marla.
Andrew.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody.